Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Pooja at A Book by the Window. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are reading good. I'm back home and I can't find my books. It's one of the things that pisses me off. I don't know where my family kept my books. So I have to go and find them. And I couldn't figure out the usual setup that I have when I'm at home. And even if I did, there is no lighting today. It's been constantly raining. Let me know in the comments below if it's also raining where you are from and where you are watching this video from. But I figured it shouldn't stop me from making a video, and it shouldn't stop me for getting out this week's video, because I know a lot of you guys wait for these videos and I'm very excited because our family is growing so much. I never in my wildest dreams thought people are going to like my videos so much, more specifically when I talk about books, and it's one of those things that make me happy. So if you're an old subscriber who is just tuning in for the weekly video, hi there, hi again. Or if you're a new person clicking on this channel, I welcome you here. I make book related videos here. I am a 30-year-old software engineer. I also have a main channel where I talk about my personal things, my tryst with mental health, fitness, other things. You can check that out. The link is going to be in the description box below. If not, if you're only here for the books, welcome. Welcome aboard. You're gonna have a lot of fun. Please don't mind the noise in the background. There's a lot going on. There are dogs on the road. There is the sound of the rain, but I can't help it. This is what it is, and I make the best with what I have. What is today's topic? Today I'm going to talk about 5 books. It could have been more than 5, but today I chose only 5 books that changed the way I look at things in my 20s. Now that I have entered my 30s, I have a bit of time to reflect on how my 20s went. And if you have been following me for a little bit, you would know that it was a tumultuous time for me. It was not a very pretty fancy time for me. I didn't have a lot of fun. I tried to, but I couldn't because of some issues with my mental health. Even then, I tried to read some books, and as I always say, books have the power to change your life, change your perspective, change your thinking. So I chose 5 books from that period, from that time, and what they meant to me and how they shaped my worldview and how they change how I look at the world is what I'm going to talk about today. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The very first book that I'm going to mention is A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. Why I am starting off this list with this book is because I started my journey back to reading with this book. I think a lot of you guys know the story. I was a reader as a kid, but I lost touch when things came around. When I was prepping for my boards, studies came in the way. But in the first year of my college, I picked up this book because someone lent it to me, and thus began my reading journey again. It holds a very special place in my heart because I was able to pick up reading again for what it is, a very exciting and interesting activity that also opens up your eyes to what's happening around the world beyond what you look at. And that's what this book means to me. I'm going to start with the description, the plot, what this book entails, and why it had a very lasting impact on me. This powerful novel takes place in Afghanistan and follows the lives of 2 women, Mariam and Leila, as they navigate love, loss, and survival under unimaginable circumstances. When I read this story, it spoke so much to me because to me it reflected the strength of womanhood and the resilience of human spirit even in unimaginable circumstances. It really taught me empathy and broadened my understanding of different cultures and their struggle. There's a very beautiful quote from the book that goes like, "One could not count the moons that shimmer on our roofs or the thousand splendid suns that hide behind her walls." It's one of the most beautiful lines I've read in the longest time, and that was the start of a movement for me. Moving on to the second book in the list, the book that I'm going to talk about is Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. I am pretty sure it's a very popular book. It is very well known as one of the non-fiction books that you must read. It routinely features in 100 books you must read in this lifetime, and I have my reasons for getting impacted by this book. Little backstory, this was one of the first books that I reviewed on my Bookstagram page, and again, it was a book that I borrowed from someone. Someone lent it to me at my workplace, my first office, my first job that I worked, and I only had like 20 days to finish the book because someone else was in line to read it. And it is a 350 pages book. I clearly remember it. And back then I wasn't too big on non-fiction, but I would still read. And when I read it, my eyes were open to a different worldview. More specifically, how we humans feel that we are above other animals or how we are somewhat special on this earth. It is good to think of yourself like that in the context of your center of universe, but when you look at the universe, you are able to see that there are so many different life forms, and you owe it to yourself to respect everyone. You owe it to yourself to look at different life forms in synergy. But what Professor Yuval Noah Harari goes into is the history of humans, how we came to be such social, cultural beings as we behave today, how we have developed our biases, how we have evolved, our behaviors, not specifically the traits or genetic composition, but also our behaviors for our survival. And when I read it, I started taking my life less seriously, and I did not think that the whole universe is conspiring against me specifically. I used to have that feeling back then, and with a different worldview, I was able to see that most things in world are random and it is not specifically targeted at me, because we came here by very random sheer luck, and we survived so far by luck. Some of it is our brain and our survival instinct of making other species extinct. But when you read these things, you get all the more motivated maybe to work on your life, but also look at the life around you that is thriving and surviving in a light that you so often overlook in your daily life. So that was a really good experience for me. I honestly devoured this book, and I can never forget the impact that it had on me. And thus began my journey to read more non-fiction books that have the power to change my thinking. So this book is very special in that regard. And let me just end this yapping by a quote from the book. You could never convince a monkey to give you a banana by promising him limitless bananas after death in monkey heaven. Make what you want to make of it. I think it describes human behavior in its perfect essence. And with that, we'll move on to the third book in the list. If you have made it so far in the video, you're in for a treat, because I'm going to talk about a classic that is a classic in the genre of dystopia. 1984 by George Orwell is again a very popular book. It has been quoted in a lot of pop culture references. You would often find media talk about it endlessly, and of course, it was about time. I picked it up around the time when I was just starting off my Bookstagram, and I still enjoyed reading books for the leisure of it, and I had a lot of time to read them. This was also probably the first book that I read on my Kindle when I first got it. I think my Kindle is now 10 years old, almost 8 years old as far as I remember. And it is again a very thick book. It's not a very small book as opposed to Animal Farm by the same author, but it packs so much in the little book that it is, in the big book that it is, that it is still relevant after almost a century of it coming out. This dystopian novel is set in a world where the government controls everything, even your thought. I remember when I finished this book, I was on a trip to Gokarna, and it was the end of the current year and a new year was starting, and this book was just finishing off as the sun was setting. If you have read this book, you would know how it ends. I wouldn't want to give any spoilers, but it was something that leaves you with something to think about. And I was so grateful to be able to look at the sun and feel that I am free. This book made me realize that how important freedom is, how important independence is, even of thoughts. And I am a kind of person who has always tried to uphold her independence as a woman growing up in India and living in India. And it is so often a fight to be vocal about what you think and what you want to do. And I'm pretty sure some of it is also true for people of all gender, but that makes us think that sometimes we take our freedom for granted, and sometimes we also take the little things in life for granted, like being able to see a sunset and being able to think good things about it, like being able to choose who you love, like being able to feel loved from your friends, family, etc. All of these things we so often overlook in our daily life. But imagine not having that privilege, not having that liberty to be able to exercise that. This is what the book tells you, and it also helps you understand how important it is to fight for your independence, how important it is to make positive choices in your life that is not bound by an external entity, even something that holds you back like your own thoughts. So it's very important to live your life the way you want to live, and this book taught me that, and it's still clear in my head what I want to do in my life. And there has been years where things went downhill, but I have tried to uphold my identity and independence in the face of it. And I think I have little bit of credit to give for that to this book. As always, the quote that I'm going to quote from the book is, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. We are at the fourth book in the list, and this book is another non-fiction. It is the memoir biography by the founder of Nike, Phil Knight. The book is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before. I picked this one from my then boyfriend, now husband's bookshelf, and he is someone who reads very less books, but he's really into sports. So he would read books that are motivational in terms of sports, and I really needed to steal it back then, and I am so glad I did, because again, this is a book that has shaped who I am today. For I am a runner today. I know that came quite late in my life. I almost read this book 5 6 years back, and I never thought I'll be a runner like I am today. But the opening lines of this book are one of my favorite. The first page itself teaches you or tells you the joy of running like only a runner could explain. And back then I wouldn't understand it to a level that I do now, but every once in a while, when I find myself in slumps, not being able to run as much as I want to, not being able to be fully motivated for it, I go back to that paragraph. I often read it, and that is the kind of impact that this book have had on me. This memoir tells the story of how Nike was built from the ground up, but it's not just about the business success. Phil Knight shares the real and raw struggles that he went through while trying to survive and while trying to just keep Nike afloat in its nascent stages. It is set in Oregon, where the headquarters of Nike are today, and that's supposed to be a cold place. And you would read the author's thoughts about still going out in cold and running almost like 6 miles, 10 kilometers every single day. And he draws an analogy from his own experience of running and being a aspirational runner to running a startup, trying to come up with a business like this big and just surviving through it all. Like, you are in it for the long run. It is not a sprint, it's a marathon. He understands it fully well. And when you go through his story, you are probably going to be inspired yourself to pick up running or something that you want to do and never give up. So this is one of those books that will teach you to never give up. Finally, things will work out or will not work out, but at least you'll have something to say for yourself. At least you will say that you tried and you never gave up. This is what this book means to me. I'm sorry for the crows in the background. This is what India is. Lots of noises here and there. I do feel when I'm back in the US, it's so quiet. I kind of miss these random sounds, and I'm happy I am able to listen to them here. No bother, we'll continue talking about this book. We'll end with a quote. Don't tell people how to do things. Tell them what to do and let them surprise you with their results. Did you realize we are at the end of this video, and we are going to finish strong with the fifth book in the list, Educated by Tara Westworth. This is a very thick book. This is again a non-fiction. When I read it, I thought it is a piece of fiction because the story entails in very dramatic manner. But when you go about reading Tara's stories, you would know that this is based on her real life experience, her experience of growing up in a cult, and how all her life she struggled to just get educated. This is as simple as it can get. For some people, it is a privilege in the country that I am. Sometimes that's not a privilege for women. But even in a supposed first world country like the States, where she's growing up, she finds it hard to uphold her rights, just her right to get educated, and it's going to be a long journey for her well into her adulthood, where she finally feels she has arrived at a place where she feels educated. And it is a very inspiring and heartbreaking read at places, but one that everyone needs to pick up and understand for what it is, for the nuances that it talks about, and how this whole world is marred with problems of different kind, one that we do not understand. Maybe we are too privileged to not be able to look at certain things the way they are, but it is all the more important to be able to read books like these, so that there is a voice given to stories like these. There are countless stories like these, but what I found very unique was her storytelling and her grit that shows and shines through her writing. As I said, it is a story of Tara, who grows up in a survivalist family in rural Idaho, and eventually she has to escape to pursue formal education. Her journey of breaking free from her past and finally doing what she wanted to do is very inspiring but heartbreaking. When I read it in my 20s, it made me realize the importance of education. It is not just formal knowledge, but it is about having a voice and owning your truth, no matter where you come from. This is going to be the final quote of this video. I hope you enjoy it. You can love someone and still choose to say goodbye to them. It's time for me to say goodbye for today. But if you like this video, please like it, share it with your friends, and let me know in the comment section below if there is any book that you have already read. I would also like to know your experience of books that shaped your 20s, and what those made you feel, and what those made you go get, or how they inspired you in essence. I would highly appreciate if you'll subscribe to the channel. I come up with these videos every week. I'm also going to link all the books in the description box below with my affiliates. So if you want to support the channel, you can also go and buy some books from my affiliates. I'll get a portion of the commission, and it would also help you read some very good, interesting books. And what do you know? It changes your worldview, it changes your life, it changes your 20s, 30s, whatever you want to change. With that said, I hope you guys are reading good. I hope you guys keep good. Until next time, bye bye.